cry so I don't do distraction. I'm coming back in.
Ooh. Yo, what it do? It's your boys Juice and Rue. We back here with another banger for y'all, man. The NBA season is over. Big
Mm-mm-mm.
shout out to the Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics, but mainly that bad man, the best shooter alive and top 10 player all time, Stephen Curry. Oh man, he finally got that
Top
Finals
10.
MVP. Probably should be his second one. Maybe you could argue his third, but you know, stuff happens. But we're gonna be here. This is what we're gonna talk about in this episode. We're gonna recap the finals. We're gonna recap Game 6, and then we're gonna go through each team in the playoffs and talk about what their problem was. So without further ado, J. Lou, what do you think, or what did you think of Game 6 last night?
Well, Boston fought really hard all series, all playoffs, actually. I should say they faced adversity. I did have Golden State winning in six, so it fit my mojo that they won in six. But I
Same.
thought they played good first quarter, first half of it, and then you just started seeing like the Warriors really lock in on defense. I've seen a stat that this series the every win the Warriors had, the Celtics didn't even get over 100 points, which
Mm.
obviously in the new era of basketball, offense is prominent, and Celtics they have offensive talent like Tatum and Brown, obviously some of the best offensive players in the game. They didn't even get
Right.
100 points in all the losses. So I thought that was interesting how the Warriors were able to key in defensively throughout this whole series. Um, Going back to Game 5 real quick, Higgins stepped up in probably the biggest game of his career at
Right.
26 when Stephen Curry was struggling. I kind of knew after Game 5, it was like for Boston, you got to be somewhat defeated because obviously, like I said, Steph Curry struggled, didn't even hit a three-pointer in Game 5, and you still lose by 10. So
Oof.
it was kind
Yeah.
of it was defeating. I could see it being defeating for Boston, and that kind of sense like, dang, we did all that, still couldn't even get in under double digit points to beat the
Right.
Warriors. So I could kind of see it later on, catching up to the Celtics, creeping up, especially in that second quarter. Once they got back down 10 plus, and then they had to burn two quick timeouts in one quarter, it
Hmm.
was just it was just tough for them really this series to limit their turnovers. Obviously, the remarkable stat was like 50, they had 15 plus turnovers. They're like 1-9 in the playoffs, and when they have under 15, I think they won around what 10 games. They had a really good record, like 10-1, when
Hmm.
not winning. I mean, turning over the ball less than 15 times. So obviously, that's probably their biggest thing that they need to work on. But for Golden State, them title back to the Bay Area. That's 4 in 8 years.
Hmm.
Great dynasty we're watching. I think it's kind of comparable to the Jordan Bulls. People disagree with me on that take. Uh, Another
Mm.
one that I thought about was the Spurs, obviously, and they had Duncan. They were able to win in '04, '07, uh, 2000. Well, not 2000, 1999, 2013 when they got Kawhi. No, 14 when they got Kawhi.
Right.
So Spurs is also another name to be thrown in with them. Obviously, the great Celtics and Warriors. I mean, Lakers teams, obviously in the '80s and the '60s. Now the Warriors have cemented their greatness amongst those teams. You brought up Curry being top 10 possibly player of all time. That is a debate that will be having all the barbershops for a good month after
Yeah.
this finals. Um, so with that being said, though, to Golden State, I mean, I did have them winning. They're already favorites to win next year. But I'm obviously they should be favorites. I mean, they gotta be dethroned. I mean, they won 4 titles, 8 years, and the 2 seasons they missed the playoffs where Klay Thompson was injured the whole 2 seasons. So, and they're only
Very
gonna get
true.
better. I mean, they got Jordan Poole still, Moses Moody, Kuminga, Wiseman, their draft picks who were really highly talented coming to the draft. I think still have a lot of potential going forward. Still got Gary Payton. So they're definitely going to be a team to push that dynasty in the future. So the Warriors will be on the radar.
Facts, man. Facts. It's. I mean, I also called Warriors at 6. I just thought Boston was tired. I
Yeah.
thought Boston was tired. You went to Game 7, 2 out of the 4 series that you were in, and you could have possibly went to a third Game 7. But I think that's what got to them. They were gassed. Jason Tatum didn't show up. Jaylen Brown and Al Horford, they look like they was the only ones that really won. I'm looking at Al Horford like,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, hold on. This ain't right. But I'm just I'm just glad to see, Clay back, the Warriors back, because I feel like they deserve this. I feel like they deserve this. They like you said, they went through all types of adversity, and they pulled through. Me personally, I took like 2 teams in the West before the Warriors. I ain't gonna lie. I took 2 teams before the Warriors. But I was wrong. I was wrong. Steph, I think, is back when Steph passed or back when Steph was the all-time leading scorer when he broke that record, the all-time three-point leader. I said after that he was a slight edge over Magic. I said it back then.
Mm.
Now I think it's for sure because you got another ring. That's 4. Magic, what, got 5? You're
Right.
I think the accolades and the fact that Steph literally changed the game. That's a plus. Steph literally changed the game. That's a plus. Greatest shooter I've ever seen. Plus 3-point leader. Plus he don't got the Finals MVPs, but that final, like, I think everything else like outweighs. And then in a I don't want to say a better era, but a more skilled era. In a more skilled era of basketball, it's tough. It's really tough, and I think Steph is the greatest point guard of all time. I
Hmm.
think he's the greatest point guard of all time. But
Um, for me, I don't know, cause I mean, Magic. I feel like Magic doesn't get a lot of credit though for changing the game as well himself. I mean,
that's true.
six
6'8"
nine point
guy.
guard. There was no 6'9". I mean, the closest thing to a 6'9" point guard back then would probably be probably 6'6" Dennis Johnson, maybe. I mean, or Oscar, 6'5" Oscar. I mean, 6'9", played one through
Yeah,
five. Probably one of the first players to play 1 through 5. Had arguably the best rookie season of all time. He just didn't win a Rookie of the Year. Bird won it. But he went
yeah,
to the finals and got finals MVP in his rookie season. He has 3 MVPs regular season and 3 finals MVPs total. 10-time all NBA player and 5-time champ like you brought up. But 12-time all-star as well. And averages 11 assists, 20 points, 7 boards for his career. Uh, but I think Magic changed the game. I mean, during the '70s, obviously there wasn't a like prominent big time players. With Magic and Bird coming in though, they were able to make it a rivalry, like bring up the old Lakers and Celtics from back in the day. And
Right,
with Bird being on the Celtics, Magic being on Lakers, I think
right,
that was very prominent for the NBA because I think during the '80s, the Celtics and Lakers were in the finals almost every season. One of the teams was at least one of the teams were in the finals every season. So
right.
I think with that being said, I think Magic really doesn't get a lot of credit himself for changing the game. But I do see the argument. I really don't like comparing players who are still playing, even with the LeBron and Jordan debate. I need to
Right.
wait till Bron's career's done, and I think I kind of want to wait till Curry's career's done because I think he can add more. I think he can get another ring.
I think he
Obviously,
can.
I already like I brought up. They have great depth behind them, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wins 5, 6 rings. I think that will only help his case. But greatest point
No, if he
guard,
wins 6, it's not even a debate.
yeah. I mean, it also depends the prosperity, the road to the 6 or 5 rings. I think this ring. I mean, they talked about it. They said this ring, whereas like Clay and them, they said the ring felt very revengeful and rejuvenating. They thought it was one of their best ones. So
Yeah,
obviously, the road to a ring matters. So I think going forward, we'll see if the Warriors can get another rings. I mean, more championships. But for right now, I honestly, in my opinion, I
hot.
think I think Curry
Whew.
can do more. I mean, the two unanimous MVPs is fine and all, but like I said, Magic has three himself. Like he's not lacking in MVPs. They just weren't unanimous. Um, and he, like I said, he has three Finals MVPs. Curry has his one, and I think going forward, Curry will probably go down. I think when his career is done, though, I will agree that he will be the greatest point guard. Just I still want to wait it out. But
That's
for
true.
right now, I'm calling it a. It's pick your poison, honestly, for me. You got the
Mm,
6'9" point guard, and you can have the greatest shooting point guard, the greatest shooter ever at point guard.
ooh, this is gonna be tough, man. This is gonna be tough. But this is a debate we definitely have to talk more about and see other people's point of views. We gonna see. But also real quick, we gonna go through, like I said before, we gonna go through each team that lost and talk about what they struggled with. Why didn't they win? Why didn't they go further? Why didn't they make it to the promised land? So first, we're gonna start with the only team to get swept this year. And that's the Brooklyn Nets. Now, J. Lou, what do you think the Nets' problem was?
I want to do a little challenge actually. I feel like make it a little interesting. I feel like we should only use 3 to 5 words to describe it, and then like obviously you can give your after details after the words. But my words
Okay.
for the Nets is
It was what?
team chemistry. I think
Okay.
going
Okay.
into next season, Kyrie, the most talented person I've probably watched play basketball, with arguably the greatest scorer ever to play basketball. They
Right.
only played, I think, pretty sure they played less than 60 games in 3 years together. Just Katie and Kyrie. There's 82 games in one season. That's not good. So, like I said, team chemistry. You're adding Ben Simmons to the mix. When last seen, top defensive player of the year candidate, which they
Right.
lack in. So adding him, I think will be really good. And I, they're gonna have a lot of questions. They got Bruce Brown. They gotta pay. LaMarcus Blake is getting old. I don't know what they'll do with them.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think they should just fill out their depth going forward. But I think the main component is getting the core team chemistry.
Yeah.
Not Blake, Ben, Katie, and Kyrie.
Yeah, I got 3 words: chemistry, availability, and depth. That's my 3 words. Chemistry, you already made that clear. They haven't played a lot of games together. But the availability is more towards the regular season. If Kyrie plays every single game, they're definitely not in the play-in tournament. I'll tell you that. They're definitely not 7th seed. Just for the fact that Kyrie and KD would not allow them to get that low together. Um, and then depth. It was literally only KD, Kyrie, maybe Bruce Brown sometimes. Joe Harris completely disappeared this season.
He
Um,
got hurt. Yeah.
well, he got hurt, yeah, but even beforehand, I was like, whoa, he was felt like he wasn't even there. Felt like so. They played Blake Griffin more than Andre Drummond, not Andre Drummond, than LaMarcus Aldridge. Me personally, I don't know if that was the best idea, just because I think LaMarcus is a better shooter, in my opinion. So, and I think he can create his own shot too. Like feed him in the post, he can do his own. He can force his own shot. But yeah, that's really my 3 words. It's sad that they did it. Sad that they didn't win a game, but they got swept. That's just crazy. But
And that's where first seed though. When KD was healthy during the season.
and back when he was in the MVP conversation, he was at the top of the conversation for a good minute.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was pretty bad. But let's move on to the next team in the East. They were the 1 seed for a good amount of time. Talking about the Chicago Bulls. Now, my 1 word, no, 2 word. I have 2 words for the Bulls: health, consistency. Health is for obvious reasons. You lost Lonzo Ball, you lost Alex Caruso for a good amount of time, and after that, everything went downhill. Consistency, DeMar DeRozan, he was consistent, but the people around you, not really. Zach LaVine, I feel like I need more out of you, especially with Lonzo out, especially with Caruso out. It's But then again, granted, they didn't have that playmaker. When Lonzo was in, everything was smooth, everything was good. So, but at the same time, you have to adjust not having that playmaker. You have to, if you're a star and you want to get paid like a star, and you want to be looked at as a star, then you have to adjust. You got to
Mm-hmm.
adjust. So my 2 words for Chicago was health and consistency.
I think for Chicago, me, I'd say development. I think they have a great squad. Obviously talented as well. I say development and retain Zach LaVine. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumors with him speculating that he might leave the Chicago Bulls. I think that would hurt them a lot. I thought him and DeRozan was a great scoring pair. Like you brought up, I mean, Lonzo being there obviously helped them, but they need also to develop Patrick Williams into a great defender. They don't have a lot of wing defenders in the East. You got to go up against Giannis, Kevin Durant. I mean, 2 of the best players right now, probably top
Mhm.
10 in everybody's list. You also got, like I said, Tatum and Brown, great wings. I mean, they're gonna need. You got Harden still with Philly, so they're gonna need wing defenders to guard those great players. And Patrick Williams is their draft pick. He was hurt for like the first half of the season, but I think if they develop him, he is already a good defender himself. I think if he becomes an elite defender, be able to stop, like I said, the names in the East. I think if he's able to slow them down, the Bulls, obviously, they have a great chance. Still got a great lineup, like I brought up. They got a solid bench, like Kobe White. He's a good scorer.
Right.
Maybe I would like to see more big men presence besides Vucevic off the bench. But I think going forward is really about the development.
I feel that. I feel that. Moving on to the next team in the East that only won one game, the Atlanta Hawks. Now, my I feel like for Atlanta, I'll say my words are shot selection.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that it's kind of new, but I'm watching the games. I've seen Trey Young shoot the craziest shots I've ever seen, and they were like way off, like real bad. And they were like at times where they didn't even need him to shoot that, like they didn't even need that. Um, so it was like, well, shot selection and superstar help. Trey Young,
Mm-hmm.
outside of that one game where he got that bouncing game winner, but outside of that, he was non-existent. DeAndre Hunter was, I think, probably the best player in that series. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
he was left open, but even then, when we started to guard him, he was still giving buckets. He was still giving it out. So, but from your superstar, I don't care how well a team is guarding you. You got to perform. You have to perform. I don't care how small you are. I seen Isaiah Thomas put up 50. So I superstar help, shot selection. Those are my words for Atlanta. There's probably some better words out there, but that's the ones I came up with.
Yeah, I think for me, it was gonna be one superstar away. They got a great roster, in my opinion. Uh, I think they can move on from Collins though, and Gallo probably package them for a deal.
Right.
For I think I think they should go wing or two guard. Uh, DeAndre Hunter did show a lot of promises though, so I wouldn't really necessarily get rid of him, keep him on the roster. But if they're able to bring in someone, no, I think like Donovan Mitchell, Bradley Beal out there, whoever, OG Anunoby also maybe traded. Shooting, not shooting guard, but I think those three would be a great fit in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think like they got a good roster, so they're just one Trey Young's one superstar away being a real contender.
Yep, I feel that. I feel that. Moving on to the last, well, for now, Toronto. I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie. They're well coached.
Toronto.
They're well coached. I mean, I guess you could say consistency. Fred Van Vliet didn't really play that well. Um, Pascal Siakam, he did play well. He did play well. But after losing Kawhi, it's like they went from a great team to a good team. So they need to get back to a great team. So I'm gonna use what you said for Atlanta. and I'm gonna say they're not a superstar. I'll say a good star away. I'll say they're a good star away. Just because they
Mm-hmm.
need that. Ooh, and veteran leadership. Veteran leadership. They lost Kyle Lowry. That was their vet. If they could have
We
like
been there though.
he been there, but like,
Siakam.
can you really call them like a vet though? Like a vet?
They're not veterans, but they got championship DNA.
They've been there, but it's like I don't know. I think they need a real veteran on that squad to like show them the ropes to tell them what's up. Like if they had like a
Okay.
CP3 or like a veteran leadership or a star. That's
Okay.
mine for them. That's mine for
For
them.
me, it's get bigger. 6'9" and down is all you got on this roster. Um,
But
we saw against the Sixers. I mean, Embiid will be back next year, hopefully healthy. I mean, he beat him damn near broken in the thumb at least, and then he
right,
hurt his face when they already swept him. But going forward, they need to get bigger. I mean, like I said, they got to deal with Embiid out there. Got to deal with Giannis.
right,
So they're gonna struggle against those two teams. Those two teams are title contenders, hopefully next year, healthy. So they're
right.
gonna need some size. They're definitely gonna need to work on their depth at the size. I mean, the center position. I'd probably say Miles Turner is your best bet. Obviously, he's been trying to get marketed. Great shot blocker as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think getting bigger is what Canada needs for this basketball team.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I agree. I agree. Moving on, we're gonna move on to the West. We're gonna stay first round. The team that nobody expected to be here, let alone win 2 games. We're gonna go with New Orleans. What does New Orleans need? Me, hell, I could say health. I think Zion being out. Okay, nah, I need more than health. Health. Ooh, health. Veteran leadership. Zion being out. Zion put Zion in that lineup. I think they could. Well, they're going to be extremely better. But that's a really young team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really young team. I guess you could say CJ McCollum is the closest thing to a vet. CJ hasn't won anything. He hasn't been anywhere. The most he's been was the Western Conference Finals, but that's not really like that's not really a vet. Like so, I think veteran leadership and health. Because I think if Zion was in there, probably take it to 7. They probably go to 7. They probably still lose. They probably go to 7 games with Phoenix. Not gonna lie, but yeah, health and veteran leadership.
Um, for me, I think the Pelicans. I say, I say Zion's available. Zion's X factor. He is the X factor. If he comes back, last seen he averaged 27-6. 27
Okay,
points. 27 points for 6'9" or whatever, 6'8", power forward, 6'6", some say, without the shoes. That's
that's
pretty
insane.
impressive. He can jump out the gym. Last
That's
time we
insane.
seen, I mean, we seen the highlights on Instagram, obviously, of him dunking with the foot injury this season. So hopefully he comes back with the energy that the Pelicans need. But they gotta spread it out. They gotta spread out roster. Brandon Ingram, we've seen the development. I think he'll be a great playoff performer. Obviously, he did good this series. against the Suns. The young depth they bought in, like Jose Alvarado, Grand Depth Ala Jose, Herbert
Yeah,
Jones, one of the best rookie defenders.
he was
I
real good.
mean, they got a lot of young guns. I do like if, like you said, if they bought in another veteran, I think that would help them going forward into the playoffs. But they got a solid roster. You
They
plug
do.
Zion back in with at least the same type of Zion, like 27-7. I think this team could compete for the fifth seed next year. Fifth seed. I could see it. So that's really what I need to see from the Pelicans.
I can see it. I can see it. Moving on, we're gonna go to Denver. Denver is just one word for me. One word for me, and that's clearly health. If I feel like if Jamal
Yeah.
Murray and Michael Porter Jr. play, probably could make a run for the Western Conference Finals. With them two healthy, they're not gonna be the sixth seed. I think they're top four at best with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. Uh, but without them, and then you wouldn't play Golden State. That's what I feel like. You wouldn't end up playing Golden State first. I think they would end up meeting Golden State in the Western Conference Finals and possibly beat them. Possibly beat them. You got the MVP back to back. You got Jamal Murray. We saw what he could do when he was healthy. And Michael Porter Jr. He started to break out. We can say that he started to break out. And then not Andrew, what's his name? Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon, he had a really good season. Monte Morris, he got a cool season. Will Barton, cool season. So they got the depth in Denver. Health is a major thing. I feel like if they were healthy, they could probably make a run. They
Mm-hmm.
could make a run.
Yeah,
So that's what I gotta say.
yeah. Last time healthy, they were in the Western Conference Finals in the bubble and
Mm-hmm.
lost to the Lakers. So we'll see. But I think health is obviously the easiest one. But I think to get more to the roster, they need an elite defender. We saw in the playoffs they had no perimeter defender to guard the Warriors' offense, and with them being the favorites, it's going to be hard to beat them. They're going to need to bring in some good perimeter defenders. It would be, I think, their best bet probably be trading for Patrick Beverly, but I doubt he'll leave Minnesota just because of the culture they're trying to build with him apart. So I think they just need to find themselves an elite perimeter defender, but they got everything else. They got the scoring, they got the MVP at center. Once they get
Right.
that perimeter defender at the guard position, I think they'll be good going forward.
Moving on, we're gonna go to Minnesota. Minnesota managed to slip in the playoffs after winning in the play-in tournament. So Minnesota, I'll let you go first because I don't know. I'll let you go
For
first.
Minnesota, I got one. I think Minnesota. Who is D'Angelo Russell to them? Who is him? Who is he? Is he gonna be 22 points a game, or is he gonna be 11 points? I mean, he played terrible. He shot 33%, 30% from the field these playoffs with around 13 points. I mean, he got to step it up. I think there was a lot of game. They had leads on the Grizzlies. They had a lot of leads blown.
Yeah.
They definitely need some. They definitely needed him to step up. I think outside game one, I think that was his best game. He played terrible the rest of the series. So once they figure out what he is to them, I think obviously him and Cat are boys. So I don't think they'll trade him just quite yet. But if he has a disappointing, if they don't even make the playoffs and he has a disappointing year, he may be on the block. Obviously, the team's still young. Like I said, Patrick Beverly was a great addition, though. You can see what it has helped with Anthony Edwards. The chemistry they built. So I think keeping him around will be good for their development with these young guys. But I think the real key factor is, can D'Angelo Russell be that star? Like he was voted All-Star, I think, when he was in Brooklyn a couple
Yeah,
years ago. So I think
yeah.
if he can be that All-Star level point guard, whatever, I think Timberwolves can make it farther. I think they can make it out of first round next year.
Okay. I got one. I'm gonna say a star small forward. If they don't have to be a superstar small forward. If they can get like somebody that could score. If they can get somebody who can score, actually not even score, probably defend, like a long wingspan, 3 and D. They can get a 3 and D. I think Anthony Edwards is your scorer. D'Lo can be your scorer, and Cat looks like in the playoffs that he took that next step. So if he could stay on that step, I think they could be all right. But get you a nice, solid star small forward. Get you like not, I don't want to say like a Jaylen Brown, but like along those lines. Maybe like dang, this is tough. I'm not gonna lie, this is tough. But if they
I
can
mean,
go
they
for
got Jaden
somebody,
McDaniels. He's 6'9", though, long wingspan. But he plays power forward. I mean, they run Anthony Edwards a lot as small forward.
exactly,
Obviously, he's a
they
shooting
go
guard.
small. Yeah, they go small. They need like a real forward. I can't think of a name, but if they can go out and get like a nice, or even draft a nice small forward 3 and D, or can create his own shot, that'd be nice for them. That would be real nice for them. Moving
Mhm.
on, we're gonna go to the Jazz. The Jazz, man. Um, I think it's
Am I going
just
or how you're going?
I would say what they need to do now, and that's rebuild. I'll say that now, because whatever they got going on is what they've had going on for the past 4 years. Really good regular season, extremely mid to terrible postseason. So whatever they got going on, it's not working. Trade everybody. I think Donovan Mitchell's out of there. Rudy Gobert, I don't think there's really a point in keeping him. Uh, so I think Utah just needs to rebuild. But for the playoff, well, no, I think that works. Now rebuild. That's to me.
Hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say blow it up as my words. They got a lot of trade assets. Jordan Clarkson just won 6-man year 2 years ago.
Right,
Bojan, Mike Conley, Rudy Gay, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell. I mean, they have the trade assets to easily pull in some picks. Probably pull a Thunder, get a lot of draft picks, maybe if they really
right.
wanted to for these guys. Um, like I said, they have definitely the guys that teams would want. So we'll see what they do. But if they don't blow it up, I would say they would need to reel in. They would need to reel in. Switch it up the style. Um, like I said, Donovan and Gobert, they're cool and all, but it's not gonna win you a championship.
It's not.
Um, you talked about Donovan being on the block. There's just not a lot of trade asset you can pull back from Donovan. I mean, unless you send Donovan, maybe Rudy Gay, Jordan Clarkson for Damian Lillard. Then again, is that really enough for Utah to get out and win a championship? I don't know. I mean, but I say blow it up. That's my personal opinion. They got Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who's a solid guard, built 6'5", 205. So I think get him some minutes, young guard, and I say just probably try to build future direction. Probably, like I said, pull us, just get draft picks.
Right. Going back to the East, second round. Philly. One thing for Philly is ball movement, transition defense. I think that's what messed them up because I feel like once they gave up the ball or turned the ball over, it was like, oh well. I mean, there they go. I mean, they're on a 2-1. They're on a 2-1 fast break. Yeah, we'll let them score. We'll get the ball back. And then when we do get the ball back, James Harden dribbled for like 12 seconds. Dribble. If that don't work, give it to Embiid at the top of the key for some reason instead of in the post. Give it to Embiid for the top of the key. Try to draw a foul. If they don't draw a foul, they don't get back on D. They're just sitting there like, where's the foul? So that's what I think their issue was. Because when they get his shots, Danny Green turned back the clock this year. Not this year. I'd say in the series against Miami, he turned back the clock. So, and everybody just looked good, but the way that they played just wasn't it. The way they played ISO ball, they showed no effort on defense. It felt like, except for Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey was the only person I felt like really showed like interest on defense. It felt like, and Joel Embiid, his presence alone is something. But everybody else is just like, hey. But that's my words for Philly.
No, I do got a lot of Philly friends out there from school. So I think, honestly, I like the roster. So I think I'm going to keep this simple. I'm in shape. In shape is the biggest thing. James Harden does not look like the Houston shape Harden. I don't think he'll ever be that slim thin build, but he can rock the slim thick maybe. Just make sure he's in shape. Pause, obviously. But but Joel Embiid as well probably came off his healthiest year, in my opinion. Obviously, almost won MVP. But I think keeping those two in shape will be the best thing Philly can do going into next season. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep, facts. Now we move on to Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I want to say help around Giannis. Obviously, if Chris Middleton there, I think it's a whole different outcome. But you still took it to Game 7. I feel like Grayson Allen, he did not show up. Drew Holiday was probably the only person. Maybe you could even say Bobby Portis was also those were like the only people to really show up and help Giannis. Giannis out there dropping 50. I think he had 250 and 50 in a playoff series. That's
200, 150.
Oh, 200, 150. That's insane. And it felt like he was the only person that really wanted to win. It felt like him and Drew. Even Drew probably he didn't have that many great games. So I feel like help around Giannis, and then you bring Chris Middleton back, they'll be fine next year. But I will say PJ Tucker, losing him was real big. That was real bad for them, letting PJ go. But yeah, help around Giannis.
That's not a bad one. I say, other than that, I would probably say new life at center. Brook Lopez is cool and all, but I think they should experiment a little bit more. Probably let Giannis run center sometimes. Not for the whole regular season, but
Try it
They
out.
really should have kept DeMarcus Cousins. I really liked when he was on the Bucks. I don't know why they got rid of him, but they should have kept him. Maybe experimented with him a little bit more. Obviously, a more offensive big man than Brook Lopez, but Brook Lopez is a solid shot blocker. And the Bucks, they play that little coverage where they give up the mid ranges and sometimes the 3-pointers a lot. Obviously, they have length, so they're kind of contesting, but they're also giving it up. So, but I think getting a new center, new life, um, I think that will help them a little bit more with their defensive strategy. They can fully switch screens instead of having Brook Lopez. I mean, that's really why the Suns killed him first 2 games in the finals last year, because
Right.
Brook Lopez would be on the island. But I think if they can get like a center who's mobile, quick on their feet, I think they would be fine with the same roster going forward, though. Obviously, they got Giannis, so
Right.
they don't really need much.
Right. Moving on, we got Memphis, man. Losing Ja Morant was tough. Uh, Health and help around Ja. Really the same thing, I'd say. Dylan Brooks, he wasn't too hot until after Ja went down. Jaren Jackson, he wasn't too hot offensively. Defensively, he was all right. But I feel like that was a team that could have beat Golden State. I feel like that was a team that really could have beat Golden State. But that's a young team. That's also a young team. Veteran leader. You can add a vet on there. You can add a vet on there because, like, they're a young team. They were kind of cocky this season. You need that vet to be like, yo, nah, lock in. Nah, we're not about to do all this. Nah. So, vet leadership, John Morant help John Morant, and then health. That's what I think. That's what I think lost in that series.
Mm, I think for me, Grizzlies would be experience, would be developing experience. Uh,
Yeah,
you're only gonna get better if you keep getting there. So they gotta repeat. They gotta have a good season again. I mean, obviously, I feel like they will. They got Ja, they got their core in place. Ja, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain, Brandon Clark had a great playoffs. Dylan Brooks. So they got their little core in place. Just keep filling it out, keep developing them, and I
yeah.
think they'll be back.
I think they will be
That's really
back.
all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think they'll be back. Moving on to the 1 seed, Phoenix losing to Dallas. Phoenix, I don't even know what to say about Phoenix. Phoenix is just, I guess, humble yourself. I guess stay humble. They got up 2-0, and they thought this was light work. They was like, okay, hey, who we play? Golden State. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, they got up 2-0. Was like, yeah, they just started taking them lightly. That's what I think. And after that, they just went downhill. I think a lot of people, especially Lakers fans, can agree or would agree that Phoenix just needs to stay humble. And Chris Paul should have been the guy to be like, "Yo, relax. We still got a couple more games." But then again, there's a lot of people out there that don't like Chris Paul, so it's like or wouldn't expect Chris Paul to do something like that. But yeah, Phoenix for me is stay humble. That's what I think.
I think for me is father time. Chris Paul turned 37.
Oh,
Chris Paul
yeah,
turned
yeah,
37 and averaged 7 points, 4.5 turnovers,
yeah,
5 assists.
yeah.
Has it caught up? I don't want to say it has. He's one of the best point guards of all time. But we got to see what happens next season. Will the regular season uh, catch up to him, get his body worn out, or will the Suns defeat the naysayers and keep going? Another interesting point could be, DeAndre Ayton, but
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
see what happens with him in the off season. So I
you
think
will.
the real thing is Chris. How much time does Paul have?
That's true. That's true. Moving on to the Western Conference Finals. We can stay West. Dallas. Get a big man. And you got it.
Christian Wood.
And you got it. Shout out Christian Wood. I think they needed a top, like I said, they needed like a top 7, top 8 center. In reality, I think Christian Wood is a top 7, top 8 center. So you got him. Now, how do you utilize them? How do you use them? You're gonna see. But I think that's what lost in that series. Luka did what they got to do. Shooters could hit shots, but they were too small. They were too small, and that's what lost them a lot of games in Phoenix. If Luka didn't go freaking dumb, they would have. They probably would have. They probably would have lost it to Phoenix if Luka didn't go stupid. But yeah, I think it's done. Not done, but I think Dallas did what had to be done. They got themselves a big man. Now it depends on how they use them. They got to a 4th seed, so let's see what they do next year. Let's see.
Yeah, well, I mean, the guard stepped up though. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie and Brunson played great Game 7 against
Really
Phoenix
good,
too.
really
I
good.
think for the Mavs is don't become Houston. You got Luka, and it's
Mm,
everybody else. You saw them run 5 wide against Golden State, and obviously Luka is gonna get his 9 times out of 10. But the shooters, like you said, struggled. And what happened with Houston against Golden State? They lived and died from the 3, and most of their
mm,
games they died. So I really don't want Mavs to follow something like that. Even though Luka is a talented player, um, but it's starting to give similarities of that James Harden time period. Will it create winning basketball? Now, Jason Kidd did a great job coaching. I think this is his
mm.
first or second year, but I think going forward, I want to see Luka get a little more easy touches. I mean, that's why you got Spencer Dinwiddie and Brunson. I mean, get him a little bit more post ups as well instead of just dribbling the ball and whatnot. But presently constructed, the Mavs, of course, will make playoffs.
Right. Moving back east, I can use a couple words for this one. Miami. So I'm gonna let you go first. You can go first.
My favorite team out east, huh? Um, Miami Heat. Miami Heat. Um, who's scoring? Jimmy played great. Obviously, he ups his game in the playoffs, but they needed someone else. They're gonna need someone else to keep up with. Maybe Brooklyn, Philly, always gonna be around. Hopefully, Milwaukee, Boston. They're gonna need another go get a bucket guy besides Jimmy. Tyler Hero, he's supposed to be that guy, but granted, he did get hurt that series with his groin. We'll see how he develops. If
Yeah.
Tyler Hero's not that guy, they're gonna need a trade for an elite scorer. Obviously, y'all been in talks with Mitchell or Beal. I don't see y'all getting either of them. but we'll see what happens. They're just like I said, elite score. Need an elite score for Miami.
See, I
Go
could
to
see, I could spend a lot of time on this, but we've already been here a while, and I'm not going to do that to y'all. So I'm just going to say, health, not focused. Help Jimmy. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I have so much more to say, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. Health, obviously, people were playing through injuries. Jimmy was playing through injury. Tyler Hero was injured, and he decided to play Game 7 through injury. Only played 7 minutes, but I ain't gonna get too much into that. Help Jimmy. Jimmy was the only person that wanted to win, apparently. Bam, what are you doing? Tyler Hero, what are you doing? Nobody else wanted to win. Max Strus, maybe, but not every game. But, you showed up when it mattered. Gabe Vincent showed up when it mattered. Who else? Victor Oladipo. You sold. You're doing really well defensively. Offensively, nah. I'm not going to dive into that, man. I'm not going to go too deep into that. And not focused. I ain't going to say too many off-court, drama. But Tyler Hero, man, we're not here to talk about that, man. Just people, I just felt like there were other things besides winning people were focused on. Tyler. But that's all I got to say. I could say more, but we'd be here all day. And we all don't want that. Final team, man, in the NBA Finals. Boston, like I said before, they were just out of gas. Out of gas. That's all I gotta say, really. They're too tired.
I got out of gas. I don't think it's out of gas. I think for me, I think it's give Rondo or Rose a call. They need an elite floor general. Rajon Rondo, Cleveland. If he's not on Cleveland next year, give him a call. Bring him back home. Give him that number 9 jersey he likes. And let him do his thing. Playoff Rondo. We've seen it in LA. We've seen it before. I think he would be a dramatic help to Boston. People had been on record. They may win the finals if they get Rondo. Well, playoff Rondo. Hopefully he still, wants to play. But I think he'll be a help. And I also thought of Derrick Rose stuck in New York. Wants a ring too. I don't think the Knicks, come on. I mean, give Derrick Rose a call. What's up with Rose? I mean, injured, riddle season. Wants to play for something. Rose in Boston. I like this pun right here. It will really give the Garden a rose. That's all I got to say for y'all.
Man, that's tough, man. But hey, that's going to wrap up this long episode. What do you guys think down below? What are y'all's, if we talked about your favorite team, what do y'all think y'all's struggles were? Let us know. But hey, man, next time,
Top
10 players in the league. And it's going to get real spicy. I know
may have a guest. Who knows?
Yes, we may have a couple of them. Who knows that? But hey, until then, it's your boys Juice and Lou, and we out of here. Peace.
Molly off the drum, I got purple in